Hello, my name is Giselle. My pronouns are they, them, and today I'm here to do an update of my stitching for the last 2 weeks. I'm sorry I missed last week. I did film a video, but I was not feeling well while I filmed it, and I lost my train of thought like every few seconds, and it was just not salvageable in my opinion. So sorry I skipped last week, but hopefully that does not continue to happen. So let's jump into my stitching update. So I've worked on 8 projects in the last 2 weeks, and I feel pretty good about it. And I stitched most days. There's one day I didn't stitch at all, and then there's a few days that I stitched a lot. Plus I went to a stitch-in. That was a lot of fun, so there were some good things happening. Okay, so the project that I worked the least on is Vintage Halloween. This is from the Creepy Cross Stitch book. The designer is Tuscan Cardinal. If I can find a picture of the design, this is what it looks like. And where I was in the past versus where I am right now. So I'm just continuing to fill in this ghost. I did 159 stitches on this, and this was while I was at the stitch-in. So I didn't work on it a lot. I'm just like painfully chipping away at this one. I basically just need to finish up this and then add his basket, and then I'm done. And the whole rest of it is done and in here. So this could be done very, very soon. I only have 389 stitches left. So if I just like buckled down and stitched on this for like less than 3 hours, this would be done. But I don't want to, so I'm not. I wanted to get it done by the end of February. It has not happened, because today is the 28th. It's Wednesday the 28th, so hopefully in the beginning of March. We'll see. The next thing that I have on my list is a new start, and it is Earth Dragons. This is by Ink Circles, and I just did a tiny bit on it. This fabric is Wild Mint Linen 32 count, from Atomic Ranch. And it's a new start, so there's no comparison to what it looked like before. And I'm stitching this on with 500 DMC, which I just dropped on the ground. But it's just so fun. You can see the very first dragon. This is going to be another dragon right here. And I'm enjoying it. I'm just not super, like, I wanted to stitch it. I was very excited to stitch it and start it. And then I don't know. I don't want to pick it up again, and I don't know why that is. I think I'm just really in the mood for full coverage. So I'll pick it back up when I feel like it, but it probably won't be for a while. But I got to 3.69% onto this, and it was 228 stitches. And I didn't say, with Vintage Halloween, I worked on it for 1 hour and 14 minutes, which was 2.98% of my stitching time. And this is just an 18 count black Aida. And then for Earth Dragons, I stitched on this for 1 hour and 38 minutes, which was 3.94% of my stitching time. So 2 projects I barely worked on at all, but all the rest of the projects got a little bit more time. Okay, so the next one, I assume you all love her because I love her, but this is Contessa with Squid. This is from Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Omar Rayyan. I'm stitching this on a 28 count easy count, and I'm really excited about this one. So I finished the black in this section and then started the new black. So some good stuff. I'm sorry the lighting isn't very good in here. It's incredibly overcast today. But yeah, I did move the hoop down, and I really wanted to finish in that black bit. And it looks like really, really dense stitching. I really like how that's showing up on camera though, like how black and full that bit looks like, all right here. And it looks really, it essentially looks like that in person as well. So I was alternating between a strand of black and then one of my parked threads and filling that in. And I feel like I made really good progress. So I'm trying to do 700 stitches a week, and since I worked on it for 2 weeks, then I ended up doing 1,462 stitches. So I've been keeping up with that, which is really good. And I went from 2.75% to 3.15%. So I hit the 3% mark on this, which I am incredibly thrilled about. I don't know if I'm going to do it right away, but I think I want to go back up, move my Q-snap back up, and keep filling in the black up there. So we'll see what I end up doing, but that's what I'm tempted to do next on this. And Contessa with Squid got 3 hours and 28 minutes of work, and that was 8.32% of my stitching time in the last couple weeks. The next project that I have here is Slua. This is from the sewingshop.ca. The designer is obviously Kayli Tent Stitch, and the artist is Josie Wren. I'm doing the model stitch, so I can show you what the art that it's based off of looks like, but I can't actually show you what it's fully looks like when it's all stitched up because I'm the one doing that. The fabric is a 36 count that was dyed by Kayli Tent Stitch, and same thing with like the threads, they were all hand dyed by Kayli Tent Stitch unless they're the DMC. And this, I'm really close to being done, and this may be the next time you see it, or in a couple times in a few weeks it will be done. So this is what it's looking like right now, and it is coming along so beautifully. This fabric is absolutely stunning. We just have a moment for the beautiful fabric, but here it is. So I finished everything on the bottom. Everything below like this point is completely done. All the stars are in, which are done with like a DMC metallic. I have it right here. I did it with DMC Diamant in D3852. And then, yeah, everything below here is completely done, except for I forgot to do a little bit of back stitching on the star down here. So I need to go back and do that, but everything else is done. And then we're just focusing on the section up here. So I have to give some facial details to this one. I think it has a little bit of back stitching. I need to finish this bird. And then the moon, which I have about 100 stitches left for this that I can do. And then everything else is the moon. And I don't have the floss for the moon yet. It's currently in the mail coming to me. So I'll have it in a few days, and then I can start stitching on the moon. Kayli has sent me floss a few times for this because we have like worked together on trying to get the right color palette for this. So I appreciate her continuing to send floss, and I'm really excited to see what she's dyed up for the moon. Originally, it was supposed to be like charted with DMCs, and then we had the idea to try out with variegated floss instead, so she dyed that, and that's why I don't have that yet. But anyway, since the last time you've seen that, I did 606 stitches. I moved from 88.74% to 92.97%, so I essentially only have 7% left, which so close to the end, and in total, including the moon, I only have 1,006 stitches left, so close to the end of that. And I spent 4 hours exactly on that, and that was 9.59% of my stitching time in the last couple weeks. So the next project after that is not a great one. So Astrology Cat, you know, that one that I'm supposed to be working on 200 stitches every day. Well, I only stitched on it out of the last 14 days. I only stitched on it 3 days. I still did end up stitching quite a bit for those days because I was like, I need to make up time. So I did stitch 1,646 stitches. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs piece. The artist is Ciro Marchetti, and I'm stitching this on a 28 count Monaco. And I don't know, I feel like I'm getting a little sick of stitching on it every single day. But here is what it looked like last week versus what it's looking like today. Again, I'm so sorry that it's kind of overcast, but you can mostly see I stitched a lot in this black. I filled in a bit more here, and I also filled in over here. So that is what it's looking like. And I did end up moving from 16.62% to 19.34% for the total piece. And if I was to do like 5,000 stitches on this each month, it would get done, and I'm at 11,700 stitches. So I'm technically ahead for that, but I don't want to get behind because I do want to get like free charts. So yeah, I feel like I need to get back into the daily routine of this or try some kind of different rotation where I'm working on it frequently again. But I kind of got consumed by a specific project in the last couple weeks, and that's maybe why this one got set aside a little bit. But I'm still happy with my progress on it for only having worked on it 3 days. And this one I worked on for 4 hours and 34 minutes, and this was 11.12% of my stitching time. Okay, so my next piece is Home in the Mountains. This is a golden kite piece, and the artist is Jerry Vanderselt. I'm stitching this on a 28 count easy guide, and I'm also pretty happy with where the progress I've gotten on this one. So again, I'm trying to do like 700 stitches each week, and I did 1,602 stitches, so more than 1,400, which is exactly what I should be doing. I moved from 2.33% to 2.79%, and this is what it's looking like today. So mostly focusing down here. These bottom stitches right here are the bottom of the page. So I think I've decided that I'm going to move across the entirety of the piece before going down to the next set of pages. I obviously have a lot filled in right here because I don't like to leave parked threads and stuff. So I'm going to try to work in everything that I've parked, and then move the Q-snap over as I fill this in. So that's the goal, and that is what it's looking like, and I'm really happy with that. My total for this one right now is 9,673 stitches, so I'll be hitting 10,000 stitches on this in the next week, and I'm really excited about that. And again, I'm just really continuing to love stitching with blended threads. It's incredibly fun and satisfying for me. And this ended up being 4 hours and 40 minutes of stitching and 11.19% of my stitching time in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so my next project is coming along so well, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It is The Lady of Shalot. This was charted by me, and the artist is John William Waterhouse. This is on a 28 count Monaco, and I've done, in the last 2 weeks, 1,784 stitches. I'm trying to do 1,000 stitches a week, but I was ahead by like 1,000 stitches, so I'm okay that I didn't meet that 2,000 stitch goal post over the course. So what it looked like last week versus, or 2 weeks ago, versus what it looks like now. So you can see that I've mostly been working up in here, just moving that area along. And this is a project that I never get bored of stitching. It is just incredibly fun and satisfying to stitch on. I love it so much, and I'm really excited to continue working on it. My goal is to try to get this one done by the end of the year, but I almost want to step up my plans and work on it more. We'll see how that goes though. you know, lofty goals and all that, but there's so many other things that I don't want to like totally focus just on one thing and not stitch on all my other pieces, so we'll see. The most exciting thing for this project for the last couple weeks is that I ended up hitting 100 hours on this. So in total, since I started this project in May of 2013, I've worked on this for 103 hours, and I'm currently at 41.02%, so I have over 100 hours left to go on it, but that's okay with me because I love stitching on it so much. But I hit 100 hours, and that feels like a really big milestone for someone who has been essentially stitching for like maybe like a year and a half. And in total, I stitched on that for 5 hours, and that was 11.97% of my stitching time. So you're probably wondering what the rest of my stitching time went to, because this is my last project, and it is one that you have never seen before. It is a new start. I meant to tell you about it last week. It was on my list to tell you about last week, and I completely forgot, so oops. But I started a new project, and I'm obsessed, and I stitched on it for 17 hours over the last 2 weeks. So this one is one that you haven't seen before. It is Merry Mushroom Village Picnic Supersize Max Colors. So if you don't know what that means, it means that it is super size. So it's 999 stitches in the largest expanse. So since this is a landscape piece, that means it's 999 stitches wide, and max colors for Heaven and Earth designs means it's usually 230 colors to like 250 colors. So a lot of colors, and this is what my piece is looking like right now. So I'm stitching this on 36 count Modena, and the artist on this is Amy Stewart. I'm stitching this 1/1 half stitch, and I love it. It is so fun to stitch. So yeah, I meant to tell you that I was going to be starting this. I got this fabric. I ordered it specifically that there are multiple like supersized pieces that I want to start. And so I bought 2 yards of this fabric, and it's enough to start for these pieces on a 36 count fabric. And my reasoning for starting this one right now is that I stitch a lot of like black and brown pieces. That's the majority of what I stitch, and it gets a little boring sometimes. So I mean, obviously Home in the Mountains, all teals and blues, that's definitely something different, but essentially everything else is just a lot of browns and blacks. And I have a few more full coverage pieces that I haven't shown you yet, and same thing with them. It's just a lot of browns and blacks. So I wanted something colorful, and obviously looking at this piece, it is about as colorful as you can get. And even like starting in this corner, I thought like, oh, it's just gonna be a bunch of like browns or something, but it's not. It's like a bunch of pinks, and it is so fun. So I'm very excited. Over here, we're already getting into like the wings of like a bee up there. There's gonna be like a fairy right here, so we're already getting into good stuff right away. And I wanted something where there's just gonna be a lot of like visual interest while stitching. And I've just had like the biggest, goofiest smile on my face while stitching on this piece. Like for the first like 10 hours, I couldn't stop grinning, and it was making my face hurt to stitch this. It's just so freaking fun. I'm truly loving it. So yeah, that's this, my new start, and I stitched on this for 40.88% of my stitching time. So over a third of my stitching time this week just went to one piece. And my plan for this one is just try to work in diagonal columns going down. So right now I've already filled in like the first few columns, and I'm gonna keep doing that, grab a color, and then just cross country it, but then keep choosing from the diagonal columns and keep cross countrying it. And I think that will help me get to some really interesting stuff throughout the whole piece and not just like work across the top and mostly just work on the tops of trees for like a while. I don't want to do that, so that's my goal for this one. Anyway, I don't know how much I'm going to stitch on it the next few weeks because I have a new start that I'm starting tomorrow, but I'm incredibly excited. And I hope you're excited to see my progress on it. So there we go. That's everything I've stitched on. I think I've remembered to tell you everything. So in total, I've stitched 12,269 stitches, which ends up being an average of 876 stitches a day. And there's one day that I didn't stitch at all, so it's actually even better than that. There's one day that I just was so exhausted after work that I just did not have the energy or brain capacity to even attempt to stitch. So, yeah, really good stitching week. And now I'm gonna show you a little bit of a haul, and mixed with that is like my new start plans. Because I already showed this to you in my last video, I believe, but my new start, my long dog leap year SAL is going to be Templar Prophecy. And I was originally going to stitch it on like a Joann's fabric, but I recounted it and it wasn't quite even enough for me for wanting to stitch such like a huge piece on it, and was a little bit too itchy. I still really love the other Joann's fabric that I bought for the Long Dog's Dilemma, that I have like the like acid green thread on the black fabric. That one is really even and I love it. But the white one, I was just thinking about it and I was like, do I want to put like 60,000 stitches into something that I'm not totally sure I love the fabric for? And my answer was no. So I did buy some fabric from 123 Stitch to try and make sure that I'm more likely to love stitching on the project. So for that, I bought a half yard of 40 count antique white Newcastle linen. So there we go. It's incredibly exciting. I wanted to do 40 count so that it's not really huge. And then also I think the silk will give a really nice coverage on that. And then this is the silk. It's PR011 from Silks For You. So there we go. That's my Templar Prophecy combo. I'm really excited to start it. Tomorrow is Long Dog leap year start. Well, tomorrow's leap year day. All year's leap year. You know what I mean. Tomorrow's the 29th of February. So it's the day to start the Long Dog. And I will be starting it on this. I'm almost tempted to start it today because tomorrow I'm at work from like 9 to 7. And I'm like, I'm not going to get a lot of stitching because I'm going to be too exhausted. But honestly, I leave for work in a little bit anyway, and I don't get back till 6. So what's the difference between 6 and 7 anyway? I might as well just start it tomorrow. And then I have a little bit of other haul. I would say the most exciting thing that I got from 123 Stitch is this Mermaid's Folly by Courtney Collection. I love this so much. I mean, obviously we have all seen, oh gosh, what is her name? Kelly, but what is Animal Instinct? We have seen Animal Instinct stitching this and it has been phenomenal. I don't have fabric for this yet, but maybe I will buy something the next time I go to Stitch New England, which I can't go in the next like week because they're going to be shut for market, but next time I go, I might try to find something to stitch this on. I really maybe want to try to do something similar to what Kelly has done and get something kind of like murky and grungy with a little bit of like green in it. Anyway, it's really beautiful, and I'm just going to stitch it in black because they recommend stitching it in Avera Soie, and I say no thank you because that's so expensive. This is a big ass project, a BAP, and it is 569 stitches wide and 225 stitches tall. So it's freaking huge. And this is so big. I've never bought a paper pattern that's more than like, I don't know, 4 pages or something. So this shocked my soul when it arrived. I was like, why is this package so big? I just ordered a few bits of fabric and a and a pattern, because the pattern was so big. The next thing is an 1/8 yard of 28 count light mocha casual linen. This is for a start that I want to do for like a piece for my mom to stitch St. George and the Dragon on. I was at her house over Christmas, and we were like choosing a piece that she wanted me to stitch for her. I mean, I offered. It's not like she was like, you must stitch something for me. I was like, Mom, I really want to stitch something for you. And we thought it would look good on something kind of like this, with a black floss. So I didn't have the fabric, and I don't like stitching on 28 count over 2. I mean, I don't like 14 count, so that makes sense. 16/32 is like the lowest I'll go, but 36/18 is my sweet spot. So it's not my favorite, but I want to stitch on it because she wants it a specific size to match another piece that I stitched for her. So that's fair, and so I bought this for that. And I don't have any plans to start it soon, but maybe she'll get it for her birthday or something, which is not for like 6 months. I have time. That's what we always say, right? And then I also got something which was from that stitching that I went to, is that somebody brought some stuff that they wanted to get rid of. And this is a 32 count white Charlescraft. And it is a 15/18 cut. So I could stitch on this as it is, or I might even dye it. I'm not certain. But nobody else was grabbing it, and it sat there for a while. And I went back like an hour later. I mean, it was like 8-10 people there. It's not like it was a huge crush of people, but initially there was like some stuff, and I looked at everything, and then I was like, oh, I kind of want that fabric, but somebody else probably needs it more. And then I went back like an hour later, and it was still there, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. If nobody like really wanted it, then I'll take it. And I certainly have projects that I can do on it. So that's all my physical haul. And then for my one last bit of haul is that currently, so today is the 28th. If you want these patterns, you have to buy them by the 8th because they go away. The 8th of March. So if you go to Thread Geeks, they are getting rid of their Linda Ravenscroft pieces, which is really sad because they are really beautiful. And I already own one of them. I don't have it on my tablet. I don't remember what it's called, but I already have this one. I bought it like in the spring or summer of last year. Really, really want to start it. I think it's a fantastic pattern. And when I saw that they were getting rid of these, I ended up buying 3 more of them because they have their buy 2 get 1 free. So the 3 Linda Ravenscroft Thread Geek patterns that I bought, all of these, and I did double check, all of these are on Heaven and Earth Designs, but I like the Thread Geeks charting way more than the Heaven and Earth Designs charting. For some of these, Heaven and Earth Designs doesn't even have a mock-up, but then for the ones that did, I just don't think they look very good. So I was ecstatic to buy these ones from Thread Geeks. So the first one that I bought is Amaranth. I think this is so beautiful. I'm gonna have so much fun stitching all those like red. Ugh, so gorgeous. And then her like wings coming out of her back. Stunning. Really, really love this one. The next one that I ended up buying is Maiden Spring. Obviously the art from all of these are Linda Ravenscroft. I just love his weird, creepy face. It's such a vibe. I think her face is so, so pretty. A lot of Linda Ravenscroft pieces do have like the arm warmers and I'm not a fan of those, but I feel like in this one they blend in more than if it's like the purple and black or whatever. It just makes me think of like 2000s scene emo, and it's just not something I want to think about. So I just don't love the aesthetic of it. I mean, um, but in this one, I don't feel like it stands out too much, and I just think her dress and her face and her headpiece and her wings and everything else about her are so pretty that I can forgive the arm warmers. I don't know why she's wearing arm warmers. And then the final piece is a perfect sphere. Ugh, again, just think the face is so stunning. I don't love the bottom half of the piece as much as the top half, so I think I might crop it right below the hands, and only stitch the top half. Because I don't think I need like 3 different tattoos that are the same tattoo. Um, but I think the moon is really pretty, and I love the headpiece again, and her face is super pretty. So, and again, like, I think arm warmers are really weird, so it's, I mean, if you want to wear them, more power to you, but there's something that I aesthetically don't really love, so if we can crop it off and you can't tell that they're arm warmers as much, maybe it's okay. So anyway, those are the 3 that I bought, and I think they're all really stunning. Um, and I'm really glad I bought them. I only wish that Thread Geeks had more Linda Ravenscroft because I would have bought more. But I only bought the 3, plus I already had bought like my most favorite prior to that. So again, I have more full coverage than I will ever possibly be able to stitch, but that's okay. I I will be able to finish stuff. And I do think it is interesting to say that even with adding in Berry Mushroom Village Picnic, which has 700,000 stitches, 713,000 stitches, more like it, that even with adding that in, the years that I'm expected to finish this in at stitching 500 stitches a day is still like 14 and a half years. So let's say like 15 years. And I don't feel like that's too crazy for having a lot of full coverages and having a supersized max color. So I'm actually not upset about that. And that actually, starting Earth Dragons did bring up my whip count to 50 pieces. So when I start my new start tomorrow, I'll be at 51, which I don't know how I feel about. I don't really mind having a lot of whips, but I do mind having whips that I haven't touched for a long time. So I think that's something I want to start working on in the next few months, is just making sure I'm going back and touching everything so that they're not getting neglected for like a year at a time. Um, anyway, I think that's everything I had to share. Um, Again, I don't know if I said this at the beginning of this one, um, or if I only said it in the last video, but thank you so much for all the interaction that I've gotten on the last few videos, all the likes and the comments and the subscribes. It means so much to me. It was very overwhelming, but like in a good way, obviously. But I was just absolutely giddy with the interaction, and it absolutely made my last few weeks. So I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And I am excited to continue sharing my stitchy journey with you. So yeah, I will see you all in a week, hopefully, with more stitchy updates. And if you have any opinions on how you would like these structured, if you think I'm sharing too much information, if you want even more information, like my projected like my average stitches per hour, how many hours I have left until I finish it, if you want my start dates, if you want some extra stuff on that, or if you want my total time spent on each of them, if you want the total stitches for each piece, if you want more information, definitely let me know. If you want less information, I guess let me know that too, although I like sharing information because I think it's very interesting. But I definitely want to hear your opinions, and again, I just like thank you so much for all the views and likes and subs that I was feeling very overwhelmed by it, and I really appreciate it. It really made my week. Anyway, okay, I'll stop rambling now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you in a week. Bye everyone.